Assalamualaikum and welcome everyone. Let me begin with a question, not a casual one, but a deeply linguistic one. Okay? When you type "you okay" instead of "are you okay," are you simply shortening English, or are you actually using a different linguistic system altogether? Because today we are not just talking about English as a language, we are talking about English as a social system, a digital code, and a global power structure. So my real question is English still a global language, or has it transformed into a digital linguistic ecology? Let's explore this. So part 1 is English as a global language. In classical sociolinguistics, English has long been defined as a global lingua franca. Okay, scholars like David Crystal described global language as one that achieves international dominance, not by number of native speakers, but by functional spread across domains. And what are these domains? These domains can be education, science and technology, international trade, diplomacy, media. So in this traditional framework, English is standardized, okay, grammar governed, institutionally controlled, native speaker centric. Historically, for example, a Japanese scientist and a Pakistani researcher communicating in a conference will mostly like to use standard English as a neutral bridge. But this model assumes something important, okay, that is that English remains stable. And this is where modern linguistics begin to challenge the assumption. Okay, so the part 2 is the digital turn in English language in flux. Okay, now let's enter the digital ecosystem. What happens when language moves from classrooms to screens? We observe a shift from standardized English to what can be called digital English, computer mediated discourse. Okay, in this space, English is no longer just written or spoken. It becomes fragmented, multimodal, and obviously emoji integrated, hybridized with local languages, and algorithmically shaped. Okay, for example, instead of "I am going to sleep," no, we use some kind of emojis, or we use sleeping, LOL, lol, bye. Okay, then we use "so done with today," W. We use W in place of "with" today. Okay, and with some emojis. From linguistic perspectives, this is not bad English. This is register variation under technological pressure. Okay, there is the mind map representation is given to you. You can see. So my question is, now you can consider this: if language reflects thought patterns, then what kind of thinking do these compressed digital forms represent? Are we witnessing language simplification or cognitive adaptation to speed and attention economy? This is where scholars like Nomi Barron argue that digital communication is reshaping linguistic norms toward efficiency over formality. Okay, so another part we can add in the lecture is theoretical model English as a dynamic system. Okay, how? Let us map the transformation of English through sociolinguistic lens. Classical English, standardization phase. Okay, then we have global English, it is world Englishes, and then we have internet English, it is called as CMC, computer mediated communication. Okay, after that there comes social media English, hybrid multimodal discourse, and after that obviously for sure AI mediated English. Okay, so at this stage English is no longer a single stable system. It is what linguists may call a pluralistic, decentralized linguistic network. Then we can also have conceptual metaphors, the high level explanations. Think of English not as a fixed object but as water in digital environment. It does not maintain one shape, instead, it adapts to academic containers. It cooperates environments like professional English, social media, just like compressed digital English, AI systems, for example, predictive hybrid English. So the question is not is English correct or incorrect? The question becomes in which context is English being performed? Okay? Then now let's move from theory to educational reality. Okay? Digital English has created a bilingual like tension within one language system. Okay? Positive linguistic outcomes, increased communicative speed, emergence of creative semiotics, like we use emojis as meaning units, greater accessibility for non-native speakers, expansions of global interaction networks are also also used as the positive linguistic outcomes. Okay, what are critical concerns? Erosion of formal academic register, grammatical fossilization in student writing, it reduced depth in syntactic construction, over reliance and on abbreviative cognition. So this leads to a central pedagogical dilemma. Okay, are we witnessing linguistic innovation or linguistic dilution? This is the real question that arises. Okay, from a language ideology perspective, two schools emerges. First is prescriptive view, and the second is descriptive view. Okay, English must remain standardized. It is according to prescriptive view, and language is naturally evolving. It is the modern linguistic that is descriptive view. Okay. Then we have every informal stage of language that eventually becomes normalized. Okay. So we must add another layer, that is the cognitive and technological dimension. Technology is no longer just a medium, it is a co-author of language. Okay, autocomplete, predictive text, AI suggestions, these are not passive tools, they actively shape our sentence formation, vocabulary choice, even the emotional tone. Okay, so English today is not only the global, it is the algorithmically influenced, you can say. Then we will conclude this lecture. So where does this leave us? English is still undeniably a global language, but it is no longer only that. It has become a digital language, a multimodal system, a hybrid cognitive tool, and a technologically mediated discourse network. So the final academic question is not will English survive, but rather what kind of English are we producing and who is shaping it, humans or systems? Okay, let me leave you with one thought. Every message you type is not just communication, it is the participation in the evolution of English itself. Thank you.